Hey, I'm DM Scotty. Welcome to the DM's Craft. I got a really cool episode for you today. I'm doing a set piece for a game I have. There's going to be a mountain, and the enemies are doing some mining in this mountain, and they're using cable cars to run down this shaft to the bottom of the mountain where their lair is. So I'm going to do this whole cable car battle with the player characters, and it should be really cool. So what I'm going to show you today is how to make this cable car, and just super easy and cheap, and it looks great. Now, one thing in the video, I'm only showing one cable car, but in reality, when I'm doing this, I'm going to have 5 cable cars in the encounter, so up to 5 cable cars. So I would make them all together at the same time, like I would cut all the pieces at the same time. But in the video, I'm just showing how to make one, so it's just not repetitious. So let's get to that, and I'm really excited. Oh, one last thing. At the end of the video, when I show how to make the cable car, I'm going to show how I'm going to set the scenario up and how I'm going to play it. So that'll be a nice little demonstration for how you could use set pieces like this. So let's go to it. To start, I'm going to make the base of the car. So this is the bottom of the base. I've made this 2 1/4 inches by 3 inches long, and I measured this out so that 4 figures could fit in here. Now what I'm going to do with this base is I'm going to make the sides. Now, unlike a normal dungeon tile where I put it on the edge like that, that will severely diminish the size of the base. I'm going to have it stand straight up on the edge. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure around the edge of this, so I have the right lengths to all the pieces. So I'll measure that. I'll just turn it, measure that, just turn it. I could just measure this out if I wanted, but just as easy to do it this way. So there we go. Now I've got all those pieces. So now I'll just cut this. So now I've got all 4 pieces, and I'm going to glue those onto the side of the base. Got all my pieces ready, and now I'm going to glue them on with the glue gun. Take the glue gun. I like to use a small one for this type of small pieces. And just glue that on. I want to make sure it's level. So there, I've got that on. Now I'll just continue to glue. Okay, now I've got all my pieces on there, and we'll move on from there. So next what I want to do is reinforce the corners. I'm going to use this cardstock. This is 1 centimeter wide, just like the strips that I put on the edge of the car. It's also for decoration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my ruler, and I'm going to measure 1 inch for each corner, but I want to also get the 1/2 inch mark because that's where I'm going to bend it. So I need 4 of those. And I'll just cut those out. So now I've got the inch piece, and I've got a 1/2 inch mark on each piece. So what I'm going to do is just kind of stick my thumbnail there and bend it on that piece. So now I've got it in half. But what I'm also going to do to add a little interest is I'm going to cut off the end at an angle. So now it's kind of sharp on the end. That'll add some interest. So I'll just do that for all these. Okay, now I've got all the corners cut, and as you can see they're angled. So now I'll glue those on. Just take the glue gun, put a generous dab each corner. Just pop it on there and hold it for a second. So now we've got that corner there. Now I'll do the other three. So there we go, got all four on. So this has a double purpose. It hides the corner, reinforces it, and gives it some visual interest. So when we paint this up, we'll have some raised areas and not just a box. So there we go, and we'll move on to the next step. So right now the problem I have with the car is you can see the corrugation for the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a strip. I've cut this, it's just cardstock. It's a 1/4 of an inch wide, and what I'm going to do is measure similar to what I did before, but I'm going to measure from end to end here. So we'll cover the entire piece. So I'll just double those up and cut it again. Okay, so now I'll glue those on with the hot glue. Be very careful when you're working with this fine detail stuff in the hot glue. You don't want to burn yourself. Okay, so I've got a nice edge cover there. You can see the corrugation is covered up. Now I'll do the other side. Okay, now I've got both on there. So now what I'm going to do is measure these two pieces. So I will, I wanted to measure after I put it on so I would get it exactly right. I'll just measure right to the end there. Cut it. I'll do a little dry test. I think I'll trim a little teeny bit more. Looks good. I'll glue that on. So I got that edge and just got to do the last edge. So I'll measure. Okay, looks like it's going to fit. Alright, so I have my basic car. And what I thought I'd do is add a little more interest to it. So I'm going to take some of this centimeter wide cardstock, and I'm going to glue to the center. I'm just going to guesstimate. And I'll glue that, hold that down. Now that has dried, I'm going to pick it up and bend it on the edge there. So now I see where it bends. I'll glue. Just Just a little strip of hot glue there. And I'll just bend it up and hold it. So that's good. Now, as you can see, it's much bigger than the car, so I'll just snip it off. And there we go. So I've got a little bit of banding on the edge there. It'll add some interest. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, there we go. I have the base of my car. But this car is going to be like a hanging car. It's not going to be on a track. So what I need is, I wanted to put a bar in the center that comes up that simulates as a hanging car. So we'll move on to that next. So here I have my piece of cardboard I'm going to use to make the bar. I'm going to make it 3.5 inches tall. This will be my bottom here. So I'll just measure up 3.5. So I'll just have the height there. Okay. So now when I make this, it's going to be 1/2 inch wide. So I want to be careful that I have the corrugation going against it and not with it. Because if the corrugation is going with it, it'll be weaker. So if you look at the side of my cardboard, there you go. If you look at this side, sorry, it'll be coming up from this bottom part. Here's the corrugation is going this way. Okay, so that'll make it much stronger than if it's going this way. So I want to make sure that's correct. So I'll turn it back. And I'm just going to measure 1/2 inch at the bottom here. And what I'll do is I'll just use my angle. Draw up. So, now what I want to do is I want to have some angled pieces on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make blocks just to help with that. So I'll measure 1/2 inch out and 1/2 inch up. So that'll give me my marks. So I'll just draw from that point to the bottom. So now I've got, you can see I've got an angle there. Okay. So I actually measured the wrong way for this mark. So what I'm going to do is I'll just measure 3.5 tall. So there it is. So this is the top, and this is the bottom part. And what I'll do is I'll cut this out with the sharp knife, and I'll show you what that looks like.